listen, tomorrow I have a holiday party, and this is just making me ready to dance. My twin sister and I were just saying yesterday, we love to dance. Oh, I messed up my Instagram. Oh, well, we're not going live on Instagram today. Anyway, hi, people. Happy
Oh,
Friday. It is that time. It's no particular reason time. Episode 88, which I love because 8 is the infinity number. So we're going infinity times 2 here, baby. And I'm your host, Kerri Lewis, alongside of Yanko Yankov. And we're here to just hang with you guys for an hour on Friday and talk about anything, everything, nothing, and whatever comes up in between.
that's right. It's wonderful. I was still dancing for a little bit, but yeah, we're here, people. It's Friday. It's becoming our favorite time, at least for me.
It is. It's so interesting. I was telling you, right? We were talking about moon cycles and stuff. Maybe we'll touch on that today, maybe not. But I was telling you, I stayed in bed till 9. But I'm like, I gotta get up and get ready for no particular reason.
It could be something. I don't know. The other day I felt the same way. Uh, I just stayed in bed and I didn't have no desire to get out of bed. It was just so comfy and nice, and even thought about it and said, "What was the last time I enjoyed it so much?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter. Let's be in the moment and just enjoy it."
I mean, that's a great awareness. We sit in joy, and then our thinking mind pulls us out of joy by trying to figure out when the
Exactly.
last time we had
Yeah.
joy was. And it's like, why do we do that?
It's like, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I'll never forget reading, and this was years ago, The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, which for anybody, it's a phenomenal book. I've actually bought it and given it to people. But he was talking about one day being in the shower and feeling all of the beautiful water drip on him, being super present. And then he felt a little bump, and his mind immediately went to, oh my God, do I have brain cancer again? And he's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that now. So let's enjoy the water. And it was just aha moment. It's like, it's true. You can't do anything at this particular moment. So, you know what I mean?
It could be the language, because language creates that narrative inside, and I see it in my little guy still verbalizing everything when he's having the narrative going inside. And I'm sure when he grows up, it's going to be more internal, the voice that's like, oh, where are you going, and pushing the other one and playing and doing all that stuff. But it makes sense, because a lot of the people that like Ramana Maharishi, he was just silent, and some people just go in silent just to kill that internal voice, because we keep narrating things that we see. Oh, beautiful flower. Oh, wonderful. And the other thing is that you enjoying a sunset, or the sky, it's in red color, it's in flames, and it's so wonderful, and you enjoying it. And it's kind of like what I was feeling in bed. You're feeling this bliss, you're present, it's wonderful, and all of a sudden the mind comes in and says, wonderful sunset, and you're like, right out of it.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny that you say that, because to your point about Ramana, I teach clients.
uh,
Oh, hang on. You're
there
gonna
you
do this
go.
dance again today. No, but when I work out, I close my eyes. If I'm in a spin class, I close my eyes and I really focus on the movement, my muscles, whatever. When I'm The universe is playing tricks on me today. I might have to move, but we'll see. But I notice that I get locked into the surroundings around me. But if I close my eyes, I can be super present with the weight I'm lifting. I can be super present on the bike where my butt is in comparison to the and all of that. I experience I have the experience of working out, which isn't always blissful, guys, because pumping heavy weight sometimes hurts, but I am feeling it. And also, I'm able to be in form, which in my former years of training, I've injured myself because I'm so focused on everything else while lifting that I am not paying attention to what my muscles actually capable of doing and how it's moving, and I injure myself. So, super, super important to
That's a really good
recognize
point.
that being present in this moment is the only moment we have, but also uh closing down your eyes makes it easier to do so.
Yeah, connect them with the body.
Yep.
I mean, at the time when I was working out, I sort of started to do the same thing because with coming in with zero experience, I didn't want to injure myself. A lot of the times previously, if I'm gonna go, I don't think about it. I can um, tell if something it's really heavy or not, and I can just grab it the wrong way and injure my back or my neck or something. Depends on how I'm stretching. And then the other thing is that if you're doing a sitting job, you condition to do that, and anything can happen because you don't have the flexibility, and there's no warm up. You just get up and go.
Yeah.
And because of disconnection of the body, you don't feel anything until you feel anything. So in the beginning, it was kind of the same thing. I'll go lift up and I'll feel the feet underneath me if they're in the proper position, if I'm having the feet proper balance with the body, if they're not open too much before I do the uh, free weights, um, dumbbells, and especially with the barbell, know. So, and that also connects you with the body, which is
Yep.
great because, like, if you're doing any sort of meditating practice and you're checking out, you lose that disconnect with the body and you want to go back in the body. So there you go.
Hey,
That's
get into the body. Well,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's just a again, for the listening audience who might be like, "Oh my god, meditation, I can't do it," which I hear all the time. It's like the greatest gift we give ourselves that we can't do. That's what everybody tells themselves. Just feel into your body. I mean, start there because that awareness will I mean, that is presence, and everything everything is presence. So, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, yeah, if and I hear that too from a lot of people that I talk to or clients. I ask, do you do any kind of meditation or any kind of way to like give time to yourself? Do you have a hobby? Maybe you like to draw or anything to get your mind out of things.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Oh, my mind never stops. It goes hundreds, kilometers per hour, and it's just like going on and on and on.
Ooh, that was a good sneeze. I love that.
Bless
I
you.
don't know why, but I like to sneeze. People don't like to sneeze. I'm like, there's something enjoyable about sneezing. I mean, not that I want to, but I'm not like, oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze. Let me like repress it. Anyway, totally, that was totally off topic. Um, but yeah, people will tell themselves anything and everything because we're part of this collective conditioning until we start to break free from that. And it's interesting because I watch a lot of my loved ones. None of them can sit in silence. Like if they're cooking, they have to have music. If they're driving, definitely need music. If and I've talked to some of them and they're like, oh no, otherwise,
Isn't that weird though? Like I've noticed that too, and I've noticed that about myself too. Like if I get in the car and I drive, uh, I'll be tempted to call somebody and say, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever, because I'm driving and just being by myself. It's I don't know, it feels weird sometimes.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I kind of like everything else in nature, I cycle. So there are times when I could just sit in the
Yeah.
car and absolutely be happy as a clam doing nothing. And, you know, that speaks to Nana and I have a relationship in which we can be in each other's presence, not have TV on, not have nothing, and be in complete silence and be absolutely contented. Just, and then there's other times when I'm chatting away a mile a minute, telling him about my day and stuff. And it's so interesting. Um, yeah, it just ebbs and flows. It's just whatever I suit my fancy. But here's the thing, I have the capacity to sit in stillness. I can observe my thoughts, you know what I mean? And that is a gift I encourage everybody to allow themselves to have, because then you can examine whether those thoughts, you ask where they come from, and does that belief serve you in the first place? Has it ever been real? And if you don't start to give yourself permission to hear what's going on in your mind, if you're just operating on autopilot, you're a product of whatever the external circumstances you grew up in gave to you, and you never really had a say because you weren't aware enough to know whether you had a say or not.
Well, earlier before we started, you were talking about that. You found out the kids are in the theta state until they're 7, which is
Yeah.
like in the program state. So it slips right on. Anything you say, they take it as a okay. It must be true.
Yep. Yep. It's so interesting because I was watching one of my young loved ones, she's 8, apologize to my daughter about something. She had nothing to be sorry about. But I when I listen lately, I have been attuned to hearing how often everybody says I'm sorry. At the gym, how often people are like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Uh Always. And I'm like, "Holy crap, we have been conditioned to be a society of sorry." And I rarely, like, I rarely say sorry, and I'll never forget, I was in a leadership training, maybe 28 years old, and somebody presented, um, something about using the word sorry and stuff, and since then, I've kinda worked to not just willy-nilly say sorry, like, I'm just not gonna say I'm just not gonna say sorry, but we naturally do, and I think it's because we were conditioned as a young kid. "No, don't do that. No, that's bad. Say you're sorry." Do you know what I mean? And that's all we know.
But really, said because talking about sorry, it's like you're sorrowful for something, but you're not sorrowful like nobody died or anything that you're having sorrow for. You know what I mean? So
And regret. So, yesterday, my daughter comes in, and she bought herself a $200 hair straightener. And I could tell, like, she was like, and I said, "Do you love it?" "Yes." "Then to have no regrets. Own that bitch." And that's the problem, is we get the thing that we want, and I know my daughter loves doing our hair. So this is something that she will really appreciate having access to and using. But then that, "Oh my god, I should be using my money for car insurance, or I should be using my money for Christmas presents for others." I'm like, "The hell you should. Are you enjoy? Then you own that, and you walk around very glad that you spent $200 on a hair straightener." Now, would I spend $200 on a hair straightener? Absolutely not. But Imma tell you right now, I'll spend $2,000 on a tattoo and be just as happy as she was with her hair straightener. So there you go. But we don't, like, we feel badly about treating ourselves, and then we're apologizing. And here's the thing, guys, that I continue to unfold in. When we regret purchasing or like doing anything that feels good for us, we come from a lack mindset and we're attracting lack. But if we're just like, "Oh, this is cool, chilling, chilling," you're going to attract abundance because you're telling the universe that you're open to receiving more. So it's really, for me, teaching my daughters to not regret. getting what feels good for them is super important for me, because I want them to understand we live in an abundant, limitless world.
That's right. Yeah. And something made me think about the same kind of concept. Uh, I don't know, a couple of months back, or maybe even further back, that we're usually conditioned to give service without knowing. So we're not allowing ourselves to, enjoy little things. We always sacrifice for something else. Oh, I'm not gonna buy myself a present to buy this present for somebody else.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna, not sleep late or whatever so that I can, make breakfast for my kids or something else. And you always give, give, give. And when your cup it's not full, like, you're gonna finish really fast.
Well, and but moreover, like dis-ease, like you get diseases when you don't pour from a full cup. It's so interesting you say that. And it ties into what you and I were talking about offline around boundaries. But I bear witness, and this is where I do not subscribe to the narrative where it's, oh my God, women are taught to give of themselves. Both men and women sacrifice their own needs for others. I see it 100%.
Yep.
I work with more men than I do women at this point, and I've worked alongside men. And the thing is everybody is conditioned to put aside their wants, desires, whatever, in order to care for the family, in order to achieve a new result for work, in order to the problem with that is we then cultivate resentment because we're not taking care of ourselves. And so we're still of service, but it's not coming from love. It's coming from fear. And we all know, knowing energy, and that we're a vibration, that fear is a very low vibrating energy. It's close to death. So it does no service to people to prioritize others above themselves. And I understand that it's a condition, but it's one that I highly encourage people to challenge and to break out of, because the only thing it's really doing is shortening your human experience, meaning your life cycle in this physical body, and creating abject misery for you and the people around you, because you're not joy filled. You're not sustained.
Well, not only that, but you're also losing the sense of you-ness. You're losing every time you do that. You lose part of yourself
Yep.
because you're truly, if you're staying true to yourself, and this isn't something that you truly want to do, then you're changing yourself for something other, because you're conditioned to do something else.
Yep.
And
100%.
to a point where you might start listening to other people, doing other things, trying to please everyone, this and that. And then in the end, you stay and you say, whoa, who am I? Which isn't a bad thing because it'll bring you right back and you'll go back to yourself and try to find out who you are.
100%. I do want to shout out Bonnie for her religious commitment to support and for no particular
Yes,
reason.
thank you,
We
Bonnie.
really appreciate you and trust that you are having a beautiful day filled with boundaries and choices that bring you joy. So there you go. But that does lead to boundaries, because to your point, when we start to become aware that we are operating from an expectation rather than from a feeling, meaning like I want to extend myself to another person, we then have to create boundaries for ourselves. And everybody talks about boundaries. I hear it all the time. It's kind of like the word authentic. Everybody slaps it around like it's just, most people are silly sloppy with boundaries and don't really know how to hold themselves accountable for the boundaries that they want to implement, but don't actually know how to execute. So I'm going to
Well,
give y'all
no,
some example.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The work I do with people it's deep. Like I work with people who can be in deep suffering, right? And so I want to be accessible. Well, that means that if I take on a huge client load, I am not going to have the energetic stamina to support these people. So I made a commitment to myself. I would not work with more than 12 people a month. It used to be 10, but I realized I had a lot of time on my hands. So 12 people a month because that gives me access. And I have a crazy business model. Well, I don't think it's crazy that people get to pick what they pay me. So I don't have a set price because I don't want to be out of I want people to have access to support, which sometimes they don't. What happens if I get a 13th customer on a month where maybe money is tight for me and I could bend on that boundary? Oh, this person's going to give me money. It's going to make it easier for me to pay my bills. It's going to make it a little easier for me to pay my get Christmas stuff for my kids. Right now, I created this boundary in order to be able to extend myself in a way that feels good for me to the people I serve, right? Whilst maintaining a lifestyle that feels good for me. And that's all that matters. It feels good for me. I have to ask myself, is that 13th custom, does it really matter? And it does, because it's not holding true to what I know works for me to be able to give the very best of myself in all areas of my life. And so that's a boundary I hold. And I'm very, very, I'm a stickler to it. And it sometimes it makes it a little more challenging for me, but long term it makes it easy because I'm always in peace and I'm always able to energize myself. And guys, when you live in an abundant world, money comes from places you wouldn't expect. And so it's like, okay, I'm not going to take that 13th customer, but I know because I trust that I live in an abundant world, something's going to happen that's going to make sure that my needs are taken care of. And it always does. And that to me is a boundary. And that is how you implement a boundary. It's not about other people, it's about yourself. You will be tested on what you tell yourself you want. And the universe is going to be like, oh, you say you
Yep.
want that. Let's see.
Let's check it out.
And yeah, yep.
But this goes to what you were saying with the abundance. Test it. Don't take our word for it. Uh, Put it to the test. See how that plays out.
Well, I mean, think about this, guys, in all scripture across all spirituality, whether it's Eastern theologies or Western theologies or anything in between, there is a phrase to the degree of jump and the net will appear. And that's the same with abundance. It's like stick to your boundary, whatever it is. So, for example, right? A boundary is I'm no longer going to be with a verbally abusive person. Actually, I'll use another example in my own life, real talk. When I left my last relationship, I made a commitment to myself. I would never be in a relationship with somebody yells at me again. They raise their voice. I will not be yelled at. We can have a tough conversation, but you raise your voice and I'm out of there because I'm just not okay with that. And a
I
year
mean, but
later,
take it. It doesn't even bring anything. It's not gonna raising your voice is not gonna bring value to the conversation either. Like, what is
well,
that
yeah, but
gonna
I
do?
grew up in a
Like
house where I was yelled at.
screaming or none of that stuff. It's gonna bring anything. It's not gonna, you know. I don't know. To me,
I 100% agree with you, but for the sake of the listening audience and explaining boundaries, I grew up with that. So once I got clear that I didn't have to tolerate that, and you also don't, Yanko's 100% right. Like there is absolutely no reason to raise your voice. In fact, raising your voice causes the other person to go into fight or flight mode. Their defenses go up, and everything you're telling them, they're not even registering anyway, because now they're working at trying to protect themselves, survive, right? Because that's how our body responds, our nervous system. But aside from that, the going back to the boundary part, once I got clear that I didn't have to tolerate anybody yelling at me, right? I said to the universe, I'm not going to date anybody who yells. A year later, I met Nana. That man has never yelled at me once. Never. And I mean, guys, I've done some silly things. Like I crashed his car, I backed it into the driveway. I've done some things. And, right, he knew, because I'm like, he's like, you thought I was going to yell at you, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah, because that was what I knew. But because I stuck true to that boundary and I was not okay with people yelling at me, I now don't engage in relationships that people yell at me ever.
Kind of the same. Maybe that's why we're still friends.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that happens. And if I watch somebody, they're just working themselves out of the energy they have in stressing their body off, because instead of using that energy for creating, inspiring something else, you're just shortcutting it. You go like, anybody, it's all tensed up, and then you're like that. You don't want to do anything.
It's so interesting. I love that you brought up energy. Well, first off, do you have any points that you want to make on boundaries? Like what comes to mind for you when you think about boundaries, like the word boundaries and how it's applied in your own experience?
Well, I'm thinking of it as how much you're willing to share of yourself with somebody, to a point when you're not okay with where that goes. And boundaries are tested all the time, because it's not only like personal boundaries, but even like neighborhood boundaries, or your fencing boundaries, or anything that you don't set boundaries for will be tested. And this again is nothing personal against you. It's just the universe saying, what do you want? Do you want more of this or less of this? Or it's not that you're a bad person or the other person is a bad person or anything. It's just you attracted it, you wanted that experience somehow, consciously or subconsciously, and it happened. And there was no, like, nothing to set it aside of anything. How would you know what you want if you don't have the experience?
100%. But it is true. Like there is value in contrast. Everybody
uh,
I work with at some point, because I work with people who allow themselves to be open, they instantaneously have experiences that bring them joy, like that they're like, holy crap. So they just assume they're on this path of happy go lucky. I'm like, you funny. No,
no, no,
no. You got to hit
no.
that contrast. But that's what we need to get clearer and clearer and clearer
Hmm.
on what
Hmm.
feels good for us. So that's the thing, is understanding. Yes, you're gonna start to have these moments where you're like, wow, this is what life could be like. Yeah. But you've had however many years you were born and operated with certain conditions that created ideas that you have to experience in order to realize they no longer serve you. So it's like this polarity. You're gonna go enjoy, you're gonna go into to mess, and you're gonna continue to filter out what feels good for you and what doesn't, and just get clearer and clearer and clearer. And I'm always doing that myself all the time. It's just being aware and not judging the the experience, which I judge sometimes, guys. I judge my experience. I'm like, here we go again. Then I'm like, Kerri, you're just experiencing contrast. So I have to remind myself because it's work that I do too. So, um,
I mean, you have to a point you have to judge it, because then you're not gonna know which way you're going. Because like, um, in an experience or in situation, you can ask yourself, is this bringing uplifting? Is this bringing anything positive in the situation? Or and I'll go back to the example of the screaming. Is this going to change the situation in some kind of way? Is it going to bring benefit, or is it going to change anything? um and you get your answer right away, so you kind of know.
Yeah, 100%. I had a thought that escaped me. I don't know what I was gonna say.
It'll come back to you. They
Yeah, it
usually
tends
do.
to.
You know,
It
when you're in a flow, anything that comes in is just having a nice conversation.
Yeah,
This is why I enjoy our show, because it's like having a coffee with a friend, because we're, in a way, we're having a coffee, and, we're sharing, and then we're allowing anybody else to kind of sneak in our conversation and join us and say, hey, this kind of interesting or not interesting or whatever. And it's nice.
it is.
So,
So with that, yesterday was supposedly, this is what I read, the last supermoon until 2042.
oh, yeah.
And we are closing out 2025, which is the end of a cycle that is a 9-year cycle. So there are things that patterns of behavior that we can shut down going into the next cycle. This is what I read. I don't know this to be true, guys. We just gonna see, because I'm going with the flow and figuring it out. But I will say that you and I were talking offline that we are very sensitive to the moon cycles now. Like, I can
Yeah.
absolutely tell. And I think everybody is. It's just earlier this week, my niece, I was talking to her about the full moon. She said, "Oh, great. All my kids are going to be crazy." But, like, I was thinking about it, right? And
As soon as you said, it, I had to start laughing. It was just so funny.
yeah, well, because she works with like 2-year-olds. Guess what, guys? The younger they are, the more connected they are. We haven't conditioned them out into the dense, heavy human experience, right? There's not this logic. So they're good. And I'm like, wow, that makes sense. No wonder they're crazy. Like, they're having a good old time with the moon's energy. But I also think that people who aren't as conscious, they experience the energy, but it's so um it contradicts the vibration that they exist in, right? Because the moon energy is love, we're love. And if they're in like a lower vibration, it creates this tension that isn't understood and can cause discomfort throughout the cycles.
I'm gonna tell you straight off the bat, I'm not into planets or numerology or like observing the moon. But once I feel it, I gotta go and peek through the window and see, is it full moon? Because I usually don't check on it, so I
That's
don't
the thing
know.
is I don't either. Like, it comes, I'm not one who's like, "Oh, I got to check my astrology every day," or I do have angel numbers, 22277. Those are my jams, 44. But like, I'm not one who's, religious and understanding moon cycles and stuff. But to your point, the universe provides me with the information I need when I need it. And I, like you, I mean, it is a felt experience. There's no, I need to read anything about it. My body's telling me. And because you and me tap into our body, we're attuned. We are able to understand it's coming from the moon cycle, whereas other people just feel energy and it just feels hard, or it feels
Yeah.
different.
And not only the moon cycle, like the solar flares with like magnetic storms, things like that. And I had to start think about it, because growing up in Bulgaria, And as a kid, they'll put it on the radio. They'll say, "Oh, there was a sunspot, and there's going to be a magnetic storms, and we'll advise any elderly or whatever to stay indoors, and you know, because they'll get the effects because it's magnetism and all that, and usually you see it in electronics. Your GPS system might malfunction, other things might start freaking out because it's different type of energy. And I thought about it, and I was like, wow, I forgot that they were doing that when I was growing up, and now it's like you're just going through your day to day, and you don't even pay attention of what's going on around you. You don't, like, if you feel a certain way, you don't question it. You don't go like, why is this, like, is this me? Is this somebody else? Am I feeling it? Am I feeling the moon? Like, things like that. You just go and dilly dilly with your day to day things.
Well, that's the thing.
So,
I mean, that's why my clients
bye,
can't hide
Bonnie.
from me.
Thanks for sticking
Uh,
around.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate you and send love. My clients can't hide from me. If they're feeling anxious or frustrated or whatever, and I ground before I go with a client. So I'm chilling. I'm like peaceful, happy. And then I meet with them and whoo, my body be doing some things. I'm like, whoo, you going through some stuff right now. And then I love it when they're like, I'm doing great. You are? Okay, cool. Now
Oh, of course. They're
I
tapping into your energy. They're coming off stressed out, and you're like, here, relax even more. And they're
yeah.
like,
Well,
oh, this feels nice. I can enjoy and sit here for days.
yeah. But it's helpful for me because then I'm able to support them. And here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know Yanko's the same way. We don't necessarily tell people that I know what they're feeling because it's no different than yelling at them, right? If I say, "Hey, I feel how anxious you are right now," somebody might feel attacked, right? Especially if there's not a huge rapport built up. But there are things I can do without them knowing to be able to support them and hopefully guide them out of that experience if they're open to it. Sometimes they're not and they just want to be in that anxious energy, and that's okay too.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have the contrast, like you said. Sometimes you got to have a little more to say, okay, this is enough for me. Like, I had enough. Like, now I know what's going on, and like balance yourself back. But this makes me think of this uh, image that I've been seeing on social media lately with two aliens in the moon sitting around a campfire, having marshmallows and talking to each other. And one asking the other, "Do you know why humans don't use telepathy?" And the other one says, "Because they're afraid of, like, people knowing what they're thinking inside and all that, like, keeping their thoughts to themselves or something along the lines," which was like really funny.
Well, it is because the reality is there's no thought that isn't shared with the collective anyway. And that's
I know.
I laugh. I may not know the exact thought you're thinking, but I definitely know when people operate in fear. I know when people operate in false pride. I know when people are in sorrow. Like, you can't escape that. And that's the other reason I encourage people to consider breath work, pausing and tapping into your body, maybe learning to meditate for a couple minutes, because as you learn yourself, you learn society, you learn the collective consciousness because we're all mirror images of each other.
I mean, we're all part of the collective. We're part of this everything that is. We're not the separate being that we think we are. But again, don't take my word for it. Check it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
So, and at one point, you would think that it's that brings other things to mind. Like, there's people that can do readings and other things, but they might ultimately just reading what you're sending out and telling you the same thing, reflecting back to you. They're not I mean, they're having a magic ball that they're looking at, or something else, or use something else as an excuse, like maybe tarot, or. But the reality is that everything that is, it's already there. There's nothing to hide or do anything with. It's just it's 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 a show.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like I could be wrong. It's either I want to say it was a Course in Miracles. It says, "Don't concern yourself." No, it wasn't. I think it was Rumi. Anyway, don't concern yourself with people who channel or do tarot or whatever. Just focus on your internal stillness, and that's
Mm,
really all you have to do. And that's why I don't need to be a licensed Reiki practitioner. I don't need to. I mean, I can read oracles, I can do tarot, but I don't. I stopped doing it years ago because it doesn't matter. I just have to sit with you. That's it. I can sit with you, and I can just know. And I don't have to make up stories as to why I know. It's like when I send people messages and they're like, "Oh my God, how'd you know I needed that?" Well, I just knew to text you. I didn't know you needed this message, but I'm the vessel through which our collective coexistence is giving you what you need in that moment. That's
yeah.
why everybody, for the Book of Course in Miracles, let me be clear, and this is where people get hung up. We are each other's miracles. If I'm having a day and maybe I'm questioning, I don't know, the work I do, all of a sudden, one of my, people who I've served in some capacity will send me a text saying, I am so much more grounded because you da da da. That's a miracle. That person is a miracle reminding me that I'm in the space that I'm supposed to be in. And we are all miracles for each other all the time. It's just we have this story in our head that like this miracle has to be this grand, expansive thing. And that's not it. A miracle is a micro moments of every day. And when you look with spiritual sight rather than your physical eyes, you will know that you're constantly surrounded in love and being guided and supported.
And you're gonna feel it though. It's just gonna happen. Unless you're running on automatic and you're just going or getting by to just get by, then it's just. I think that's what they're calling the sleep state, where you just, you're repeating the same thing, you're not paying attention, going on autopilot, keeping everything in the same way. Spice it up, change things up.
Yep.
Maybe readjust your furnitures, do something, try new food, something else that'll get you out of that habitual, like repetitive state of being. Keep repeating the same thing, expecting different results.
Which so many people do. And
I
I just
know.
watch it. I'm like, this is hilarious. But it's, I
I
watched,
tell I tell myself, if I catch myself, I say, well, why not? Like
yeah.
you. Sometimes you say, why not? Like I catch myself and I say, oh, no, 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 and then I stop and I say, well, hang on, why not? I'd be like, okay, I'll have a big taco. Let's do it. Yeah, I don't know.
But
Again,
it's so true, and that's what we do all the time, and that's one of the reasons I love sharing life with Nana, because both of us are why not people. Instead of, oh, I can't do that, because we're like, sure. Somebody hit us up recently to do, and I will not say what, but it's going to be an epic photo shoot this weekend. And we're like, why not? I'm totally down. And it's just giving yourself permission to try something new. And here's the crux of it. You may not like it. Don't, so what? You tried it, move on. I am learning how to do cartwheels with my 16-year-old daughter because she is the lead in a play and she has to learn how to do cartwheel. I'm like, well, I'm 45. I'll learn with you. Oh, you can't learn. You're 45. Why not? Of course I
of
can learn how to do
course you can.
cartwheel.
Yes. Well, I already have a feeling that this is gonna be like a maybe like the Xmas shoot you've done like some time ago.
We are doing an Xmas shoot, but no. This one is not that
Okay,
one. This one is
okay, because
a
that's what I'm
completely
thinking. It's like, oh, it's gonna be another Xmas shoot.
we are doing the Christmas shoot, so y'all can be on the lookout. It will be highly inappropriate and a lot of fun for us. So yes, but no, no, no. It's not going to be that one. We're doing
Mm,
something different. Shout out to
wow.
the creative minds who
Okay.
know that Nana and I like to play, because we will totally dive into that.
There you go. I mean, you probably manifested it and send it out there, and the universe is like, here we go. Here's your opportunity.
Oh yeah. Well, also, it's too bad you don't live near me, because in March, Nana and I are going to be in the parade. So we got a banner for the Brightside Chronicles, and I'm going to be in the Irish Day Parade. Shout out to the Irish, because homegirl Irish, Italian, and Portuguese, but I'm shouting out my Irish roots right now. And we're gonna have all these cosplayers and different people who stepped into their joy, singer, musician, and stuff, walk with us in the parade. And I'm gonna be dressed as somebody that's not me.
I
I'm
mean,
so excited.
wasn't that something you guys were thinking of doing for the next parade? Because last time you guys had so much fun,
Yep,
and you're like,
that's what we're
man,
doing.
next time we're going out, man. We're just doing it. So I can't wait to see how that's gonna
Gonna
look
be
like.
I'm so fun. I'm excited. It's gonna be great.
I'm sure our followers will also be excited because I'm already excited about it. Like I can't wait.
Well, it's interesting, because as I watch Nana and his community, like the community of cosplayers, to see the joy and the excitement, not, I mean, sure, going to cons and conventions and stuff, but to prepare. And I mean, we're talking about people who put in years worth of work, like months worth of work on one costume to present, but it is in the joy of experiencing what it's like to make the costume, to have conversations with people around the costume ideas, to like get hyped for the photos like it is giving themselves permission to exist in that creative space all the time, which we all can do when we stop thinking with this and start thinking with this, when we lead with our heart, not our head. And the logic will always say, that's a waste of time, or you need to be doing something more productive with your life. Well, who says? Who says? What is productive? Honestly, I mean, that's just a coined term to get people to produce for the gross national product to make
There
money
you go.
to
So
feed
you
the
can
cause.
you can fit in the machine perfectly fine, so that you can just fit in and blend in with the whole and not ask questions.
Yep.
But to your point, when you recall your life, and I don't wish it to anybody, but if you recall this lifetime, your existence, and realize that none of that matter, it was just one big experience, you're gonna look at life differently.
Well,
Or if
that's why I'm
something
big about giving my kids the constant reminder. It's all a joke. I mean, and of course they're teenagers and they have all this narrative um around them. And so it can feel hard for them to have me being like, don't take it seriously. But at the end of the day, I intend to live an abundant, long life, right? That's what I want. However, I can tell you, Yanko, if I stopped having this human experience right now, I wouldn't have regret. And it's because I allow myself to have the experiences I want outside of the good opinion of others. I will completely make a quote unquote, by some people's standards, I don't think it's inappropriate. I think it's hilarious, but inappropriate pictures with Nana and post them on Facebook. Shit, I put naked pictures of me on Facebook. I don't care. If you don't like it, don't follow me. I will sing to anybody. I will make silly videos. I'll paint. Whatever suits my fancy, I will do. And the only caveat I have, right? Is it coming from love? And the reason I say that is I don't ever want to extend anything but love into the world, because otherwise that's coming back to me too.
Yeah. Otherwise, all the love comes back to you. You
Yep.
send out love, you get all the love back, and it's never ending bliss in happiness. But
With
yeah,
contrast sprinkled in between so you can learn to expand and
yeah,
grow.
sure, yes, yeah, yes. You contrast, it's a must. Otherwise, how would you know that you're even alive if there's no contrast? Everything will just kind of blur in. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
It's so
But
true.
no, not of that. Not of that. Being productive, or oh, I gotta do this or that, and the mind going and saying, oh, you got bills to pay, other things to do, and it's like, think about it. If you go back in time, there was no money. People were trading. There was no like having to work or not having to work. They'll go and say, "Here's some milk. I want some eggs."
Yep.
So, I mean, now
I
we're just
fart. Are you kidding me?
spoiled.
I farter all the time, people. Let me just tell you. I help people build like Google business sites and stuff. And in exchange, somebody will give me a new workout they created for their Busu ball because I want that, or whatever. One of my photographer friends is like, hey, I'll do photos of you if you take me to a con and introduce me to people I can take pictures to. And that's the thing, is we are so hung up on what it needs to look like or how it needs to be. The
Exactly.
reality is it
Yes.
doesn't have to look or be anything other than what feels good for you. And
Hmm?
it's a practice. I even get challenged, right? A lot of people know I still live with my sister, and there are times when I'm like, I really want to be living with Nana, but can I find joy now? Because that will create the space that makes it so that I live with Nana when the season in my life comes, and that is what's meant to be.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, if something happens prematurely, then it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
So there is a reason. I'm sure you're getting some kind of joy out of that. Even so, it might not look like what you want in the moment, but in the great contrast of everything, once that it's over and you look back and you look at the whole picture, you'll be like, oh, now I know,
Oh,
because
100%.
that's what I do. Like sometimes I look back and I say, "Oh, this is why that happened." So I can have this skill or this and know what to do. It's like, "Oh, now I know."
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
Well, also, I mean, I already know I made a very firm commitment that my daughters would have a mom who's accessible to them while they went through teenage years, because I didn't. And I wanted to create a space where they felt empowered and supported navigating the noise of the world while having a mom that they realize does life differently than the noise of the world. So anyway, we're going to wrap up because I have a client at 11 and I want to reset. But is there any parting words that you have for this phenomenal community on this amazing December 5th, 2025?
just enjoy yourselves. Fill your cup. Once your cup is full, you can keep filling other cups. Take care of yourself around the holidays. It's a good thing to have. Just don't fall in the trap of like having to or whatever. Just take care of yourselves.
100%. Take care of yourself. So, whatever that looks, and if you do not know how to, reach out to somebody for help, because around this time of year, there's a lot of people who are struggling, and there is somebody who will hold space for you always. Just seek
That's right.
that support. It's super important. So until next time, y'all, we will check you on the nope, the no particular reason side of life.